Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 28. I'm just going to say random numbers this time because I'm just going to guess from now on. It's episode 28. If I'm wrong, you can check it when you watch it. Welcome back. I hope everyone is having a wonderful summer, whether you're working or on vacation. And we are back for another episode. We have a few topics to talk about. And before we do, I want to preface with, because we're on Zoom and Zoom is an absolute dick bag, they only limit to 40-minute sessions. So if we want to, if our podcast goes longer than 40 minutes, I will stitch it together. So if this is longer than 40 minutes and you hear a weird glitch, that's because I put it together. Just to preface. So let's start it off with whatever. I don't know which one you said you wanted to start with first.
Yeah, I'm very, I'm not a weekend golfer because I don't play golf on the weekend, but I play once or twice during the week. And I watch golf on the weekend occasionally. And I'm very intrigued by this LIV league and how you can buy people's souls with money.
Yeah.
But then again, I review my own soul, and I say to myself, could I be bought? And the reason why I say that is, as we discussed in our previous podcast, the Saudis have put up a lot of money to back this LIV league, and a lot of the golfers who are on the PGA Tour have gone over to the LIV league because they're getting paid astronomical money up front.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying, well, you know what, it's just business. And a lot of people are saying, how could they do that because of 9/11? And then people come back and say, well, we don't know if it was these Saudis who contributed to 9/11. So, a lot of crap being talked about. And now, I take a look at what golfers are at the LIV, and we have some really good golfers. And we have some, as we discussed last time, golfers who are, in their late 30s, or golfers who really have trouble making the cut these days, and they're being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars up front, millions of dollars in contracts. And the PGA and PGA affiliates have dropped them and told them they can't play. And now there's lawsuits going on. The LIV golf pros are suing the PGA, and that was expected. And
why are they suing them?
Because they're losing, certain things, tournaments that they wanted to be entered in, and it's also probably going to affect their ability to get, advertisers to back them. And also, as we discussed last week, they had the Trump tournament in Bedminster.
Right.
And it was said, what the heck is our former president, who is talking about becoming our next president, doing, playing or advertising or using his golf course to promote the LIV golf when it is such a tender subject about 9/11. So I throw that out in the air. Do we do things for money that's not against the law? Or do we do things that our heart and soul tells us the right thing to do, keeping in mind the right thing to do might be to take all this money as a professional golfer to secure our family's future?
The The obvious correct choice would be to go for what's beneficial towards humanity and most empathetic. But we live in America, which is a very individualistic society. So people are going to pick the money for themselves anyways, because we can expand that to the topic of the government and why are we spending trillions of dollars when we can end homelessness with a fraction of the military budget, or we can bring healthcare. Currently, our healthcare system costs more than what free healthcare would cost if government funded it. So, of individualistic society and specific selfish desires is what causes this. So, of course, these people are going to pick the money over empathetic or ethical purposes, such as the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think they offered this LIV. I'm not sure. I might be incorrect, but I think they offered Tiger Woods $700 or $800 million to join, and he did. He declined. Yeah.
Let's check it. How much was Tiger Woods offered LIV? Yeah. Greg Norman says Tiger Woods turned down a $700 to $800 million Saudi offer to play LIV golf. Trump talks with LIV Golf CEO on a green during the Pro-Am round of the Bedminster Invitational on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. So Greg Norman was a very good golfer in his day, and he's the front of this LIV.
Right.
And I don't know, like what would one do if one sees themselves not making the cuts and they're not old enough to play in the senior tour by another 15 years or another 20 years, and all they get is money from endorsements, and that's one of the problems now. They're if they don't, if you don't win, you don't get endorsements.
Of course.
Once your contract expires. So if you're 35 to 40 and you're a golfer that can't win the tournaments anymore, and it's very expensive to be in the tournaments, travel and caddies and all that. And here you're asked to join LIV. Again, we have what is the correct thing to do. And the LIV is also, as we discussed last week, they're pilgrimaging announcers and paying them top money. Even Charles Barkley at one point had said, hey, well, basically, what would they pay me? But I don't think he took anything, or maybe he wasn't offered anything. And that would hurt me because Barkley is my favorite commentator, so
right.
When do you make that decision? And I don't know. I'm really up in the air. I can't tell somebody not to take the money and run when that would give them security for the good part of their life, for them and their family. Yet I have in the back of my mind, these Saudis, they're corrupt. But then again, the United States does business with them. So, what can I say? But that's a very big part in the news every day.
Right. And for those who were interested in the game itself, where was it? Wait, am I getting this right? Heinrich Stenson won at Bedminster. So I don't know if you know who Heinrich is, but I don't. He won with the prize was 4.3 mil. Well, it was a quarter shy of 4.4 mil, but who's counting an extra 25,000? And apparently Phil Mickelson had played his best round of golf since the opener in London the previous month. He shot a even par of 71,
Yeah, I
and
think,
he placed 35th out of the 48 players.
yeah, when I looked at it briefly, first of all, 4.6 million is like what somebody would get. I think some people, if they win the PGA with the FedEx, would get 15 million, but the basic prize money would probably be 1.5 million if you win a PGA tournament. But the thing is, everybody who participated in the LIV, all the way down, got big money, even if you
Yeah.
came dead last. So, you know, I thought this was going to die, the issue, but now because of lawsuits by the LIV players against the PGA, because they feel that they're being left out of tournaments and they're losing sponsorships. I think this is going to go on for a while, but this again
Well,
is,
and what's going to happen is it's going to drum up conversation about the LIV and the PGA, and the LIV is going to cement themselves as a significant place in American golf, specifically because of this game, because it's tied to Trump, and because of the lawsuits, because there's big names that are having lawsuits with the PGA, and those who care about golf are going to talk about the LIV, just like we're doing. And it's going to put them and keep their name, and then people are going to get sponsors, and they're going to sponsor LIV players, and then it'll be cemented.
yeah, it'll be a monopoly issue. It'll go to courts and they'll
I don't
claim.
think it'll become a monopoly. I think it'll be a concept of like Sony versus Disney. The PGA will still be the biggest thing because it's PGA. It'll be the Disney of golf, but LIV will cement itself as a significant powerhead like Time Warner or Warner Media, or Sony. You know what I mean? I think it'll be a significant powerhead that'll compete, but I don't think it'll be anywhere close to PGA unless they do a complete 180 and PGA absolutely crumbles because LIV absolutely sweeps them. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think LIV is here to stay, whether we
yeah,
like it or not.
yeah. Well, this shifts us right into our country possibly having so many diverse issues. It could lead to a civil war, because everything that comes up is something that is not just red states and blue states. It's everything today where everybody's fighting. I mean,
Yeah.
so now we have the golf people fighting. We have fighting over abortion, which we talked about. I think for the first time in Arizona and another state, the Democrats are have overruled the voters, or Democrats are trying to overrule the initiative that there will be abortions. They don't want abortions. So we have a lot of things to talk about today. And if we had a line down the middle, it would be who likes what and who doesn't like what. And with all
I think it's much more than that though.
Okay.
Because I found now this is Business Insider. They're not the absolute end all be all most reliable, but they do have some very striking statistics and information that is not helpful, that furthers the point and the direction with which America is falling. So I don't know if you want to hear a couple of them.
Yeah, let me hear.
Let's start with this one. Only 66.8% of American men had a job last year. That's the lowest level that has ever been recorded in US history. McDonald's has a higher turnaway rate percentage than Harvard. Harvard accepts approximately 7% of people that apply, and McDonald's only accepted 6.2% at the recent National Hiring Day. Of the million Americans that applied for a job were hired, 6.2%. So McDonald's is harder to get into and apply for than Harvard.
Those are figures.
There
All right.
are 7.25 million fewer jobs in America than when the recession began in 2007. The United States has lost an average of about 50,000 manufacturing jobs per month since China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001.
Where are the figures coming from?
These are, like I said, this is from Business Insider. They're not the most, I wouldn't put my life on these.
Yeah, because I would think it's the contrary, because I thought I read there were more jobs available. And
well, it depends on where you're reading it, because there's plenty of places that will say there's more jobs. And again, they may say, oh, there's more jobs when they're talking about New York or New Jersey. And it's like, yes, but we're talking about as the country as a whole, because if you look at New York gaining 50,000 jobs, but the entire country just lost 300,000, the net worth is still negative 250. So that's why some of these statistics can be skewed one way or another. This one about losing manufacturing jobs doesn't say specifically. It says the United States as a whole has lost an average of about 50,000 manufacturing jobs per month since 2001, when China joined the World Trade Organization. The New York Post analysis, which God help anyone who trusts the New York Post, but the New York Post found that the rate of inflation in New York City has been about 14% over the past year.
Okay.
And there's still tons more. So
the whole point is, anybody who's listening to this, if they have a job and they're happy, they don't care about the statistics. If they don't have a job, they do care about the statistics. But the whole point of this is that there are so many contrarian viewpoints in our country today. Let me just throw out just a couple, okay?
Yeah.
One, the amount of money being spent in the Ukraine by our country. It's necessary to prevent a total invasion like during World War II. We're helping them. Sidebar, every time we invest in a country, or give them weapons, we invariably, the weapons stay in the country and we never get the money back. And then they become our enemies. So we're doing a good thing now for the short term, I guess. But the contrarian view is, hey, we need all this $40 billion or $50 billion in our own country. But then what happens in the long run if they totally get invaded? Finland and Switzerland want to join NATO. That takes a year. People have viewpoints on that. Now Taiwan, we have the Chinese doing military exercises over Taiwan. We have in our own country people with different opinions about that. Should we send troops over to Taiwan, to Japan again, to help Japan in case there's a problem? There are so many things happening in the world where we have different opinions within our own country that will cause problems. And then we got somebody, and I'll drop it and let you speak after this. We got somebody like Alex Jones, who, what he said, Peter. What did he just say this weekend?
Well, I don't know what he said. I just know what he was having issues with. So you got to tell me what he said.
Where was the shooting that took place?
Sandy Hook.
He basically said, and I don't think I'm incorrect, was that was something that was formulated to eliminate guns, that possibly it didn't really take place, or it was intentionally formulated. I'm not sure with him, but I didn't read the whole article because he is somebody that makes up crap. And the problem is people believe his crap. He has a big following. He's being sued for about 40-50 million dollars.
It's 50 million.
Yeah.
He got sued by multiple this he was in court and he got caught for cracking jokes and crap and saying a bunch of bullshit about Sandy Hook, and he got charged with $45 million. It was like 45.1 or whatever, and then an additional 4.9 for something else. So cumulatively, it's a little over 50 million that he has to pay to Sandy Hook survivors for all the crap that he spewed. And it's so funny because when he got put in court, he started backtracking and basically uprooting everything that he talked about on his podcast, where he's like, I don't actually believe these things. I don't actually mean these things. It's all a bunch of bull crap.
Yeah, he likes to be the spark that starts the fire.
Yeah.
He likes to take an issue and take the negative viewpoint that might bring the most controversy, so that he gathers the most audience, and audiences bring sponsors. I don't know why they would bring sponsors to him, but he's out of his freaking mind. So those are things that are happening in the world that can cause problems in our own country, because we have so many different viewpoints as what is the right thing to do, from golf to who do we back in a war, things we should and shouldn't do. And then we got what is necessary for our different generations to have, as far as savings are concerned, to feel financially healthy.
Right.
And we got, people, I still get confused, we got the Gen Z, the millennials, the Gen X, the baby boomers. We had everybody doesn't feel secure unless they have a certain amount of money. And I can understand it. Can you understand it?
I can understand it.
I don't agree with these figures, but I'll throw them out there. Gen Z says they need, rounded off, 105,000. Millenniums, 350,000 in savings. Gen X, 567,000 in savings, and baby boomers, 765,000 in savings to feel secure. Well,
it makes total sense why those numbers are that way. You brought up the expectations of salaries already, right?
No.
Okay, so well, the savings make sense because if you look at now this website, this is off of CNBC for those who are wondering where we're getting this information from. The salary expectations are flipped. So though Gen Z feels safer and more secure with only 105,000 in savings, while baby boomers are asking for $750,000 in savings, baby boomers are only asking for $78,000 in a salary, while Gen Z is asking for $171,000 in salary. So big difference. And I think the difference also is baby boomers are living with the expectation of future tense, while Gen Z is asking for baby boomers are asking for lower money for longer periods of time. They're taking the 30-year mortgage while the Gen Zs are taking the 10-year mortgage. Mm-hmm. And that's because the Gen Zs are aware that in our generation, in our time, we are not privileged with the benefit of being able to do things and make them last for 20, 30 years, because America is literally crumbling and we don't have the infrastructure that supports Gen Z's life the same way that the system supported baby boomers. So baby boomers are asking for, when they were younger, yeah, of course, 78,000 back then was great because you could save that and you could turn it into 750,000 over 40 years because you had a system that supported that. But for us, we want a higher salary so that we can spend it now because we're aware that America doesn't give a crap about any of us. They care about making more money because it's a business. It's not a society.
Yeah, and the problem also is, in my day, you were told save and invest, and you'll be secure. But today, if you save for the future, which is a good thing, your money is not going to be worth crap.
Exactly.
Because of inflation.
Exactly. And that's funny because you save and invest. One of the statistics I didn't say that I read as we were changing topics was the 1% owns 50% of all stocks. So for anyone who loves to trade stocks and loves to play that game, just be aware that you are losing automatically when you enter 50% opportunity because the 1% own literally half the game. That's like playing a game of Monopoly, but immediately losing out on 50% of the board and being like, yeah, you can still participate. You can still get Boardwalk. We just have the other two blue ones.
Yeah. So again, people may be saying, gee, they're flipping from one topic to another, but the whole main topic is controversy.
The whole main topic is controversy and how this is deeply having an effect on America. Though we are discussing a lot of mini sort of bullet points, they're all under the umbrella that, in reference to one of our old podcast episodes, America's on a downhill slope. And they're all tied to that concept.
We jumped the gun on news articles that are coming out these days.
Yeah, we did. We're normally like a week or two behind on articles and we're picking up on a lot of them. One that I specifically did want to talk about as we're still talking about finances and stuff is healthcare. And to hark back to what I was saying before about America being sort of individualistic and people would pick money over empathy or what's good for humanity. We have a lot of private healthcare companies and we also America in its own right finds free healthcare to be communism and just far from it and impossible to achieve. Meanwhile, currently, based off of government website, cms.gov, the US spends $4.1 trillion. The US healthcare spending grew 9.7% in 2020, reaching $4.1 trillion or $12,530 per person. So $4.1 trillion in 2020 is what is being spent on the current healthcare system that we have right now. Free healthcare, free, off of the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget.org, the official website, has estimated, while we are not aware of any estimates, this particular proposal, similar proposals have been estimated to cost the federal government roughly 28 to 32 trillion dollars over a decade, which means, for those who don't know, a decade is 10 years, 2.8 to 3.1 trillion dollars per year for free healthcare. We would save $1 trillion a year if we had free healthcare. For everyone, free Medicaid for all, Medicare for all, whatever the hell you want to call it. But we don't give Americans free healthcare. Why? Because there's too many private organizations that are paying off politicians and want to make their money. They don't care about the furthering of society. They care about making money, individualism within a society. So just as a further sort of nail in the coffin of like, more in terms of that kind of concept and part of why it's so damning to apply for healthcare. There's so many TikToks out there and content out there that's like, hey, if you ever need to go and get medical help, when you go to a hospital, don't bring your ID, don't bring your medical card, lie about your name and make up a fake social security account and you don't have to pay it. And there's other people who are saying that if you go to a hospital and you just don't pay it. If you just don't pay it, you just ignore the invoices, they will send you a bill for like $1,000. You ignore it, they send you, after whatever, a month or two, they send you another bill for 800, and then they'll send you a bill for 500, and then they send you a bill for 300, and then they just keep lowering the cost. There's so many wraparounds and reach arounds on how you can get cheaper
Yeah,
healthcare.
yeah, but
It's
they don't also
crazy.
they don't also say, Peter, that once you don't pay something, uh, it affects your credit, and depending on your age,
It
uh,
can't affect your credit if you don't have if you didn't give them your name. Uh,
I,
like, that's the thing. That's the thing that they're getting, is they're not giving their credit cards, they're not giving names, they're not even giving proper social security accounts. They're simply not giving anything, and these hospitals are still whatever, And on top of that, you have, like, one thing that I have made sure to cement in my mind is, anytime you go to a hospital, when they give you a bill, you must ask them for an itemized sheet or an itemized bill, because what that does is it forces them to give you a bill of everything that they're charging you for. Because what people don't realize is, you go to a hospital and they will charge you $30 for a fucking Band-Aid. A Band-Aid. Or they'll charge you $30 to apply ointment on a Band-Aid. And then when you ask for the itemized bill, because you now are asking for that, all of a sudden that Band-Aid's worth $2 now. And your $1,500 medical bill goes down to $500.
I'll give you one even better than that. Years ago, your grandmother, she rest in peace, rescued a baby kitten, and the kitten, it was a little more than a kitten, bit her, and I had to take her to the hospital. And after waiting hours in the emergency room, they just, put some ointment on there, put a Band-Aid on there, sent your grandmother and myself home. Months later, I got a bill for almost $6,000, and included that she had got different shots and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, you do have to check on things. Again, this is America. And when I called the insurance company, they said, well, it's already submitted and we already paid it out. We're not going to follow up on it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. They don't want to put the time in. The reason they're not doing that is because they don't want to, they want you to pay it. And
yeah,
you have to be able to put enough of a stink around it. And they'll either, and 9 out of 10 times, no, I'm not going to say 9 out of 10 times, but a lot of the times, if you put enough of like an attitude towards it, you just don't have to pay it, because they don't want to go back through and find if you really did, and they don't want to dispute it. So they don't care. They go, screw it, don't pay it. And that's not with everything, but that's a thing that does happen, and it's ridiculous. It's wild that stuff's happening. People deserve to be paid, but people also deserve to not be swindled into paying $6,000 for some ointment and a Band-Aid. So it's absolutely asinine.
yeah, we have
With
so
that
much.
being said, we're going to take a pause, and for those who are looking to take a quick pee-wee break, this is your time, because I'm going to end and we're going to start the next one, because the Zoom is ending in like a minute. So we're going to pause. For you guys, it's only going to be about 3 seconds, because I'm just going to clip it in the post. But this is your time to pause right here. Go take a pee-wee break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. We are back. For those who are watching, you're just going to see a quick change, and then we're here. For those who are listening, you will have heard virtually nothing. Anyways, we're talking about a lot of, to solidify what we're saying, talking about a lot of crap. And it's tough because we do this, not a lot, but I think we do this in like every other episode. We talk about this, and I think it's semi-important to talk about, because it's important to remind. No, I don't know. I think it's just important to talk about, because I think there's too many places out there that are trying to glaze things over and are trying to make things better. And it's one thing to focus on the positive, but it's another to fake positivity. So there's a lot of positive things going on, and I would love to focus on those, but I don't want to be lied to and told that America's really doing better and that we're really trying to help, and they're not. They're not. They're trying to make as much money as possible, and they're trying to make sure that the bottom 98% are just satisfied enough so that they don't overthrow the 1% via mob. So that's it. But that's virtually where we're going at with a lot of this stuff. And to circle it all the way around, in part, this is why it is such a huge issue to talk about in so many fronts and platforms for my generation, because we're the ones who are trying to start our lives. We're the ones trying to enter our lives. I'm 24. I've been applying to jobs for the past couple of weeks because I've just finished all my schooling and stuff. I've applied to 30 jobs in the past 3 weeks, 10 jobs per week. So far, 3 denials and no other responses. One company denied me within 7 minutes. I would like to think that I was at least semi-qualified for it. So I was laughing at it. I'm not upset at any of them, but I thought it was very funny. I finished applying, went to the bathroom, and as I was washing my hands, I got the denial email, and it was hilarious. But my point is I've applied to already 30 jobs in 3 weeks. I've had no responses and 3 denials. And my favorite is I think it's not Discovery, Warner, might be Warner, or it might have been Sony. I don't know. But there's a lot of these websites now make you make an account so you can check the status of your job applications. I applied to 2 jobs to whatever, Sony, Warner, somewhere over there. Went on the website. I saw I still had a position from April 20th of 2021 that hasn't been looked at yet. So it brings me great hope that the 2 that I applied for are going to be looked at when the one from 2021 is still pending. But reasons like this are why it's such an important thing to continue talking about, especially in today's times and genre, because we live in a technological society where the lifespan of topics grows, matures, and dies within 3 days, a week to 3 days, because we have so much content, so much media. Everything's recorded, everything is posted, everything is archived. And because of that, everyone hears about it. If the president were to die, we would all hear about it within 3 hours. 3 hours, I guarantee. Most people, unless they're like working and they don't have their phones, most people would know about it within 3 hours. Millions and millions of people would know. That's thinking about that knowledge crossing millions of people within minutes, hours. Crazy. But because of that, the lifespan of things are so short. So the only way to persist with them and not let them die, especially when they're important topics, like abortion, like women's rights, like the way America is turning into a fascism country, is to keep talking about them. So that's why I feel it's important to discuss these and talk about them. At the same time, I don't think we should be doing it every episode, because I think we should also have some fun ones. So this is just one of the ones that I think we're talking about this, and it's still good and enjoyable and important.
Yeah, I think that we have to talk about things that are occurring because, in the 1860s, we had a civil war, a physical civil war over slavery, one topic. We are in the midst of a definite political civil war, and we're also in a generation civil war, not to a great extent, but we have our different generations looking at one another and not happy with one another, jealous, angry. We are looking at what's happening in the world around us. We're looking at things like you just said. Who has control of our body? Who doesn't have control of our body? Is the government allowed to make laws to tell us what we can do as far as abortion is concerned, which they've done? And when does it stop? So we have a lot of controversy. We also have a lot of good things, but the controversy and the unrest has to be spoken about, because we can't have this unrest, because too much unrest will be boom, an explosion. Somebody once said, whenever you're having a bad day, just think somebody else is having a worse day. Well, there are a lot of people walking around with worse days. A lot of
Yeah,
homeless.
but it's also tough to compare yourself like that, because if you consistently look at it as, well, someone's having a worse day, then it invalidates your day. And I think that's important to recognize, that though people can have worse days per se, the definition of what's worse is variable to the person. So, I think it's important to recognize that, yes, there are times where people may have worse days per se, but it's not a good plan to go about your life doing that, because it can cause self-worth issues.
Yeah, you're right. Not your life, but on a particular day or a particular moment, it might be necessary, because if it goes beyond a day or a week, you might have to call somebody, a hotline, or see somebody and discuss it. But with that said, I just hope that stupid things like our people, golf pros fighting, are so unimportant that people just turn their faces and ears and eyes away from it, because it's unimportant. It doesn't affect your everyday life. I think, though, we should be aware of what's happening with China and their arms going towards Taiwan and the Ukraine and things that are happening outside our world. It will affect us. And we should be aware of the fact that our money is becoming monopoly money. And the young people today, not only will have to deal with immediate inflation and possibly our economy being on the downside, but when can you actually save to buy a house? Just give you an example. Across the street from me, they just sold a house, Peter, $2.6 million. $2.6 million.
And I know the house you're talking about, and it looks like crap.
Yeah. So
it looks like crap. For those who are even slightly curious, the house has to be raised because of where you live and because the ocean is right there, and it has to be raised a certain amount. The house is, I think, a story or a story and a half above the ground. So the entire quote unquote first floor is a garage. It's a 3-car garage. And there's a
12 cars can fit in it.
Oh, because it's deep.
Yeah, 12 cars side by side.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so then so then the garages hold 2 per door, and then 2 deep. Okay, so it's three doors. 1 door holds 2 cars width, and then it goes 2 cars deep. Got it. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, so my whole point is this.
It's an absolutely unnecessary house. The front steps are like 30 steps that no one's going to use, and there's hopefully an elevator on the inside.
Yeah, my whole point is, what younger person will buy that house? It'll probably be somebody who has accumulated money, like we have talked about, some older person.
No, what it's going to be is it's going to be some old guy who's going to buy it so that he can rent it. He's not even going to live in it. He's already got a home. He's buying it so he can rent it, because
Uh,
that's what we're doing in today's society. No one's allowed to buy homes. If you're
yeah,
buying a home, you're buying it to set it up to Airbnb and rent.
yeah. You're not allowed to do that in my area, but anyway, the whole point I'm making is um, we could look at anything and have controversy, and when controversy outweighs being happy about different situations, we have a problem. Uh, and I would like you just said before, we will have to start talking about happier things, good things in our country. I mean, everybody's always marching for something, and we have to start getting something good to make us happy. So get that venom out of the people in our country who don't like each other's political viewpoints and what's happening. So I want to see who the political candidates are going to be for 2024. I hope Biden doesn't run. Well, I don't know if he'll be able to physically run, and I hope Trump doesn't run. And where is our country going to be headed? I don't know. You want to run for president? You're not old enough. Okay.
I'm not old enough and I don't want to. That's always the case. The ones who should run for president, the ones who are politically sound, or the ones who actually have people's worth, are either don't want to run, or just will never win, because they're not controversial enough, or they're not broad enough for them to win, because our political system works in a very winner takes all politics style.
I hope nobody marches on the Supreme Court, because I could see the next issue will be them after they overturned Roe v. Wade, overturning same-sex marriage, and that would be a terrible thing. So let's see what's going to happen. I don't know a decade from now what's going to be. I just hope that we're not going to be involved with wars outside our country while we have unrest inside our country. You know, that's something that bothers me.
Well, there's not much we can
Yeah,
we can't do a ton about that. I
yeah.
mean, I was just trying to look real quick to see if there was any good news. And it's funny because there's really not a lot of news websites that talk about good news,
Mhm.
because it doesn't sell. But a couple of things I was able to find. One of them is more of a pity find, but it's that this article's from a website called Good. I guess that's what it's called. From this past March, and they said 5 of the world's most powerful nations signed a rare agreement to avoid nuclear war and work towards eliminating nuclear weapons completely, which is absolute bullshit, but at least they pretended to sign a paper that says that, and it means something, I guess. So that's at least a pity good thing. One that's kind of good is Maya Angelou became the first Black woman to be featured on the U.S. Quarter. On
On the U.S. what?
the U.S. Quarter,
What is that?
like
Oh, U.S. quarter. Oh, quarter.
like the coin.
Oh, okay. That's
Um,
okay.
10 countries created a conservation network that will speed up the protection of marine ecosystems critical to fighting climate change, which is really nice. That one's so far the only genuine good one. Maya Angelou being on a quarter is performative for America, because that doesn't give any form of reparations. It doesn't help anyone. It's purely to say, hey, we put someone other than a white slave owner on our American currency. And the nuclear ones is sort of a no-brainer, and the fact that it's news is kind of annoying.
I bet you dollars to donuts, half the people out there don't even know who she is, and that's a shame.
I don't even know who she is.
Oh, you don't know who she is? That's a shame.
I, I have no idea. Hold on, let's see. I
Great
think
writer, great writer.
oh, yes, yes. Now I see her pictures. Yes, I do know her, but very little about her. I do know her, and I do remember studying about her very, very minimally. But yeah, humpback whales are no longer endangered. They're growing. Well, they're not necessarily no longer endangered, but they're growing in population. That's a good news. Um,
What happened? Japan decided they don't want to kill the whales anymore.
yeah, I know. Um, amazing. No, just conservation efforts. 523 acres of California's redwoods were returned to Native American tribes, which is good, I guess. Um, returning land is an acceptable offer for mass genocide, I guess. Um, I'm trying to find like actual good stuff, and it's tough because it's like we gave 1 billion vaccines. It's like I don't know about that one. That's great, but like that's not really good news.
Hmm.
The world's largest wind farm was approved to be built off the coast of the United Kingdom. That's pretty neat. I like that. Um, that's cute. Doctors in 4 Canadian provinces were approved to begin prescribing year-long passes to national parks. It gives them unlimited admission to over 80 national parks, historic sites, and marine conservations. Um, I'm trying to understand the purpose. We need to reduce barriers to nature. PARX is also working on reducing other barriers that keep people from spending time in nature, like transportation. That's really neat. I like that one. That one actually makes me feel good, which is the first for all of these so far. Um,
Okay.
that's
Other good news is that more and more people are traveling, but as soon as they get to the airports, a lot of them are being thrown off of their planes with cancellations.
well, yeah, that's the whole people
Yeah.
aren't traveling. They're attempting to travel, and then airlines are canceling their flights and firing, or no, they're canceling flights and forcing pilots to work double the hours with no extra pay, and the pilots are leaving.
Yeah. And who knows? Somebody may step on a plane and find out that there's no pilot, that it's all automatic one of these days. So you never
Well,
know.
no, that's the fun part is until it's automatic, soon you're gonna pay to fly your own plane to where you got to go. They just
Yeah.
give you like a quick like 20-minute video on like how to work the basics of the plane, and then you fly it yourself
Yeah.
because
Soon.
they don't want to, they're going to cut out the middleman of like pilots, and you screw pilots, they don't need to be paid with just a quick YouTube tutorial on,
Yes.
and we'll teach the people how to do it.
Yeah. Soon you'll have to pay to go to the bathroom on a plane.
They
So,
do that in other countries.
you know. So anyway, I just hope that we have some good things to talk about. My main concern, like I said, and I keep saying over and over again, is that I don't want our country to be dragged into any kind of war. And,
We'll probably be dragged into a war because that's what drives profits. So,
you know,
am I wrong? No.
no, not
That's how
necessarily.
America makes its profits: mass
Yeah.
genocide and war propaganda.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see what Alex Jones has to say.
yeah, yeah, that's what we need. Oh, also, monkeypox is now we're now in a state of emergency because of monkeypox. Let's go. Um,
Yeah, I'm concerned because I see the price of bananas going up.
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. I mean, I went the other day to get bananas. I mean, much more expensive, and they were half out of them. So I
Yeah,
can,
good. All right.
you know, I understand.
Um, also, this is my last comment, which is zombie pigs are a thing now, apparently. Um, I don't know the full story about it. I wanted to try and pull it up, but I was I couldn't get it. Scientists reanimated dead cells in a pig. So these pigs were like dead, nothing, no blood pumping, no brain activity, no nothing. Oh, I got it off of I found CNBC talking about it, but basically these scientists had pigs that had been dead, no blood pumping, no brain activity, nothing. They injected it with whatever, and it came fully back to life, blood pumping, cells working, brain activity, and we now have zombie pigs. So for those who've played Call of Duty, you know what's coming. Zombies, Black Ops Zombies, we get it. We all know how to play. It'll be good. Just aim for the head, remember.
Oh, we can get the shovel to dig up our loved ones.
Nice. Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Though that's the first thing we need to do.
I don't want to make fun of zombies because one of my favorite shows was The Walking Dead. So, what can I tell you? Anyway.
Look, it is what it is.
Yeah. We got a lot of living people that are zombies. So what can I tell you?
That's fucking true. Crack is a hell of a drug.
So with that in mind, Peter, I think we've reached the end of our podcast, would you say?
We have.
And I hope everybody outside stays happy and balanced. And or if you're in Florida, able to deal with the heat and enjoy your summer vacation. If you're taking a vacation.
That's very true. I agree with all of that. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever you're doing. And I hope something good happens to you today or the next day if it's nighttime.
And tomorrow I am going to try to play golf before it hits 100 degrees. And if this is my last podcast because I pass out and they drag me from hole to hole, I can only say it's been a pleasure.
All right. Until the next one.
Peace.
Peace out.